and welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of Writing with Sandhya. I'm very excited to start this new season, and we have some authors from the previous season that I've been waiting to meet, and today's guest is one of them, Dr. Jas Kohli, and he had released his book, Lights, Wedding, Ludhiana, and I had bought the book and read it. It is very funny, and I really wanted to meet Jas. So I'm really happy that he's here today. I'll introduce myself. I'm Sandhya Ragnathan. I'm author of If Then Else, a fiction book which I've just released. And previously, I've also written Burma to Bangalore and Mia Finds a Home. I have some poems published in different anthologies, and so that's about me. So I enjoy meeting other fellow writers, and that's really one of the reasons why I started this channel. So today's guest, Dr. Jas Kohli, is a cosmetic surgeon who lives in Ludhiana, and he's already written 3 books, and we'll hear more about it from him when we start talking to him. He's also a poet. He's done all of this in the humor category, so I enjoy humor. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him today. He has a regular humor column in the Daily Guardian newspaper, and he's also a member of the Chandigarh Literary Society. So with that, welcome, Jas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sandhya, for inviting me to this wonderful show, and heartiest of congratulations for If Then Else, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah. So we have met some doctors who are also authors and have written books. And it always amazes me that, doctors with their busy lives, how they get time to do that, because I know with writing myself that, how much of an effort it takes. And you're a doctor, but I'm intrigued that you have picked humor or comedy as your genre. So how did that come about? Just can we talk about that?
So, like, I had a sort of funny streak since I was a child. Like, I was not very naughty, but I could pass witty comments, like when sitting in a gathering.
Okay.
So, when I set about to write my first fiction book, I thought, why not? One of my friends also told me that there's so much of stress in the society. Please don't write something very heavy. Somehow, and that I caught on that idea, and so humor is, you
Yeah.
can say, uh, part talent, and then of course there's a lot of hard work, and there are methods of writing humor, a lot of hard work, because in humor you have to do a lot of rewriting to create a good punchline. Sometimes it takes
Right.
1 hour just to write one good line, like
Yeah.
so.
No, it's quite challenging to write humor, I think, and also it is so subjective. Not everybody gets the same kind of humor. Did you find that from the response to your books? What has been the response that you have got from audience?
Like mostly, with rare exceptions, my humor has been accepted, because a lot of it is situational and it is subtle.
Right.
So, and best thing I like about him, it is totally clean. Like I have never taken the help of double meanings or innuendos to generate humor or lewdness. So
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
I'm not like prophesizing that this is should be the way everybody, but at least like I do it in this way, and I'm happy to go around like this.
That's nice. So let's start talking with this book. So Lights, Wedding, Ludhiana. Can you tell the viewers something about this book?
So see, the self-depreciating humor is the best form of humor, and you must have seen a lot of stand-up comedians. Uh, the audience laughs the most when they talk of themselves or their families. So I have
Yeah.
satirized my city and its my hometown and its residents, and so this story is about the especially about the it's a fast-paced story set in just 24 hours about the novel rich of the city. And interestingly, when some of the people of my city who read it, they said that there is even more, lot more happens than what is depicted in the book. So I have also, I have in this book, I have also given, I always try to give some message hidden in the humor, that one should stop this wasteful expenditure on marriage. Excessive. Of course, you can have a good marriage, but you should not go overboard.
Yeah, your typical
lavishness.
Indian wedding, Punjabi weddings, yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think there is a need for a lot of urban fiction of modern India, right? How India is now. And I think that's how, people in India, get to know across cities, but also, of course, even other places, they get to know what the India is of today. It comes through from our of course, culture, which could be movies and TV, but also writing. So I think it's great that you're writing about
I have written
the
the
places
various
that you
factors. Yes, I have even put the perspective of a waiter who's in a wedding. Then what does that waiter think of about the people of the city? So in the novel, you can weave a lot of stories.
Yes, I think that was a really a delightful book. Tell me about the other books that you have written. So I know you have, this is your third book, that's correct?
So, the first book of any author, it mostly is semi-autobiographical, whether one admits it or not. Since I'm a cosmetic surgeon, so my first book was based on cosmetics. It was, in fact, India's first book on cosmetic surgery. It was titled Anything to Look Good. And it was published by 60 publishers in 2015. And then into second book was known as Light Scalpel Romance. It is also a medical fiction with humor and then for the book, of course, I decided to branch out of the this medical stream. I thought I should tackle different subjects rather than just medical. So that's it. So then I also came up with two humor fiction, humor poetry books in Punjabi and Hindi in between. But I'm a fiction writer and not a poet. Poetry was just a sort of sidekick, you can say.
But that's nice. So I think the poetry that you mentioned. So is the poetry also in the like a comedy humor kind of genre?
Absolutely, it is humor poetry only. I write shairi as a hobby, but shairi has is a very deep, and I haven't recited it. It's a hobby, just try and recite with my friends, but I've never recited in a poetry meet. Whenever I'm in a poetry meet, I always recite my humor poetry. So humor poetry is slightly different from the other poetry, that you don't make that much use of emotions, imagery, and metaphors. Your main aim is to make the audience smile. Of course, there has to be
some
meaning and a message.
Poetry, actually, humor,
because if you go too much into the the technicalities of poetry, then you can't create humor. So you can't go by the exactly by the rules of serious poetry.
I think humor poetry is actually far more challenging than fiction, because it's poetry is such a short form, and being able to, as I said, get the punchline or get everything. I mean, at least I feel that it's quite challenging.
Yes, even rhyming is even more challenging. Open is still easier, but rhyming poetry is even more challenging than open poetry.
That's true. That's true. So you mentioned that you've written in Punjabi and Hindi as well. So that's amazing that you've written in 3 languages, so English, Hindi, Punjabi. Do you have a preference? I mean, which one do you find it easier to write, or how do you feel about writing in multiple languages?
So easier to write, obviously, is in English. So that is why I have written all these books. But see, there are some languages and some expressions, especially of not just in humor, some emotions which are best or some situations in our country, in our culture, which can be expressed only in our natural language. There are some terms or some situations which English cannot pick up. So that is why I decided to write vernacular languages. And Punjabi is my mother tongue. Hindi also I'm well versed with, since it's a national language. That's the second language in our state. So I'm very comfortable in both languages.
But you, as you're a practicing doctor and cosmetic surgery is all the rage now, so I'm sure you have a very busy schedule. So I'm just wondering, I'm also working full time and I've found it really challenging to write. So how do you find the time to write?
See, you can't find time. You have to steal the time.
Yeah,
Because there are like so many claimants for your time. I think you would agree with me. There's a family, there's a profession, there's the afternoon naps, the Netflix, the parties. So you ultimately have
Yes.
to. Ultimately, there are some things which are fixed, and so ultimately you end up, like watching less movies, but you also get a lot of joy in writing, and especially when you have completed a nice paragraph or your nice page, you yourself thump yourself on the back that yes, I create something good.
I mean, at least I feel that I think writers, to start with, primarily do write for themselves, right? You have to be passionate about it to really write. But of course, we do hope that there are many readers and they also enjoy it. But you do need to enjoy your own work as well.
So if you think you are written well, I think most readers would definitely like it. Of course, some have different streams. You can't please everyone. Some have different streams of thought, or they not agree with your ideas. They may not like. But of course, you can't aim to please everyone in the world, whether in personal life or in writing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, do you have like a method or a system? Do you have a particular place where you like to write or a time? Like, what is your process when you're writing? Because since you've written 3 novels, that's amazing. Yeah.
So there's nothing in particular. I don't have to take wine to write. There's no place, and I don't have a calling. So some people say that whenever I get the time, wherever I am, like wherever in the house I am sitting, I write there. So I don't have the luxury of creating a separate nook for myself with a nice environment. So that's it. And my method regarding I want to tell you about my method of writing. For the first novel, I was a pantser. Like I started writing it, and then as the story kept on developing, as I wrote. But for the second and third book, I have become a plotter. So first I make a skeleton or outline of the story, and then I write. And I think I have been able to create more twists and turns in the plot in this way. Of course, even when you always have some option for some variation later on. But in my opinion, if I see my first and second and third books, I think my storyline has become better with the plotting method. Although initially one gets bored, but because of 1 or 2 months you just
I agree with you.
the plot and plot, and sometimes you get frustrated. You are not able to. But it is better to have some headache at that time, and then later on your flow will be quite smooth. This is what I feel.
Yes. I agree with you. Like I found that plotting is helpful because especially to get a full-fledged novel out. I think just writing works for maybe like shorter writing forms, but even then you need to have some kind of a plot in mind. But do you feel that if you have plotted it out, like most of the inspirational part, so to speak, is done. So when you're writing it, do you find it more challenging? Somewhere, do you find it okay? Now it is, just work because you have to fill in you have to complete the plot, right? Do you find something like that happening, and how do you inspire yourself at those times?
So I think probably the story keeps on building itself. The associations keep on developing, and your imagination sometimes the jigsaw fits, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So I think there's a lot which comes unconsciously. There are two parts to the story. One which you plan, and some things they develop in an unplanned way, and that is the beauty of writing.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's good
Absolutely,
advice.
I agree with you that it's a mixture. You can't be absolutely rigid.
Yeah.
Some things story may develop by itself. Some and some associations may come which you never imagined the first draft. You know, or when you have plotted the first time.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a balance of, let's say, having some structure, but also allowing it to develop organically. So I think having that balance of mix. Okay, that's good
Absolutely.
advice. Thank you for that. So you're a doctor. You write, as we heard about humor and fiction books. Do you have to have time for anything else? Do you have any other interests that you're involved in?
Yes, lot of interests, and
Okay.
I am a nature lover. In fact, today also I took undertook a nature excursion that in the morning.
Oh, wow.
I went around 100 kilometers away in the foothills. So I run a nature club, and I am also a singer, and I am a very avid listener of music, especially songs of Muhammad Rafi Sahib and Lata Mangeshkar ji. And of course, my favorite hobby, I'm not able to find time. That is the reading. That is sort of because of the writing. So
Yes.
I'm able to read less. So that is sort of a casualty of the writing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've got like so many books, so many left to read. So I think that's a challenge. I think in our line of work.
That is a challenge for writers.
That's true. And so, are you working on something right now? Is there? Can we expect something soon?
So an interesting development has occurred a few months back. I have started writing a humor column for the Daily Guardian newspaper.
Oh,
So
nice.
interestingly, I got more readership in this way than even with my books, because the
Oh,
article is for
yes.
500 words, and those who don't have the time to read full length novels or full length non-fiction books, they are able to read it, and I can disseminate it on social media. So because of that, now I have two books which are, say, half complete. One is fiction and one is non-fiction, and I don't know when I will get the time, because right now I am involved in this writing these humor articles in the newspaper, and I am, as I told you, I'm getting good response and feedback also from the readers. And I also write, say, once a week or once a month. So new article on a different topic I write. So of course,
I think
books are everything has their own role, and I do plan to get down to writing. I get more time, so I'll complete my books. But right now, nothing immediate. I think will be able to come out. I will bring out. But anyway,
yeah, but I
writing is
think as
going on by
writers, if we
in a
have,
different.
yeah, go ahead, complete. Yes.
So that is the natural development. So I don't know, like it is a like I didn't plan it that I will
Right.
write. Somehow I got an offer and I took it.
Yeah. No, and I think as writers, if we have people reading and appreciating, I think that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And it's interesting you mentioned the humor column, which is like a short form. I mean, and also like we talked just now that we ourselves who are avid readers, not finding the time to read, right? So do you feel that nowadays people consume reading in a shorter forms more? Maybe books are more challenging for people to pick up and read. What's your opinion on that?
See, I'll give you an example. Around 10 years ago, when I used to travel in an AC compartment of the train, at least 4 or 5 people will be with the books. And now I can't find just one or two. So I think we also, writers outside, along with the books, I think writers can have blogs also in addition, so that we can cater to different types of readers. Those who have short
Right.
attention span, then of course there are some readers who like to really digest the book and read it at leisure, enjoy it. There are all types of readers.
Right.
Those readers are not finished as yet. But I think having a blog is a very good way to connect with the different types of readers.
That's a good tip for any other writers out there, is, to have a blog. And
Even if if you can't have a column in a newspaper, you can always write your own blog there, and you have an even more freedom. The frequency you write and content also, you have more freedom.
yes, yeah, that's true. So yeah, it was lovely to, I think, hear all about your writing. I think we are both represented by the Bookmakers Literary Agency. So I
Yes,
think
yes.
shout out to Suhail Mathur for helping getting some
Really,
of
really,
our
really
work
wonderful. He
published.
has really helped me shape my writing
Yeah.
career.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And while if people get a chance to read your column, I hope they read it. Otherwise, you can grab a copy of his book, Lights Wedding Ludhiana, from Amazon. And yeah, really interested to hear some of your poetry. So firstly, congratulations. I think you won an international award at the World Poetry Conference, Bathinda, in 2019, which was the Philosophique Poetica International Award. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear some of your poetry. So if you would like to share, that would be lovely.
So I will recite two poems, one in English, short poems, one in English and one in Hindi. Okay. So
Perfect. Yes.
my first poem is simple and not so simple joys of life. The simple
Mhm.
and not so simple joys of life.
Right.
I love it. I love it when I'm on a solo bird watching trip. The birds are okay with my poor dress sense. I love it when God grants me a bonanza without me even praying for it.
Mm.
I love it when a patient labels me as next to God, though someday she may call me devil too.
Mm.
I love it when my wife treats me with respect because of an aberrant brainwave.
Yes.
I love it when my ex bosses come to me for treatments, especially the ones who used to call me useless.
Yeah.
I love it when I imbibe right wine. I feel more sophisticated. I love it when I'm not in a mood to eat at home and a friend invites me for dinner.
Yeah.
I love it when a wicked person, when a wicked person gets an even more wicked wife.
Mm.
I love it when a friend calls me up for no rhyme and reason.
Mm.
I love it when people call me a freak. We need more freaks in India.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. I love it when novelists read their poetry. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you so much. So I'll just read a short Hindi poem.
Yes.
So it is titled Kawa or Insan, Crow and Humans. ये जानकर आप रह जाओगे हक्के बक्के,
Hmm.
इंसान और कौवे हैं एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे।
Hmm.
कौवे दूसरे पक्षियों से खाना छीन लेते और इंसान दूसरों का हक छीन लेते।
Wow.
दोनों ने जंगलों से तोड़ दिया है नाता, शहरों में रहना ही अब इनको भाता।
Hmm.
चालाकी दोनों की रग रग में भरी है, मौका प्रस्ती तो इनकी मजबूरी है।
Hmm.
जीव अक्सर शाकाहारी या मांसाहारी होते हैं, और कौवे और इंसान सब कुछ चख लेते हैं। वैसे तो एक दूसरे के पर काटते हैं, पर मुसीबत बने तो इकट्ठे हो जाते हैं। कौवे और इंसान इतने पनप रहे हैं कि धरती माँ के लिए बोझ बन गए। थैंक यू।
वाह, क्या बात है। Nice. I think the crows are supposed to be very clever, chalak.
Clever, just like us.
Just like us.
Clever and scheming and
Yes.
shrewd.
Yes, and I think as a naturalist, I think you've probably studied bird behavior as well. So yeah, coming from that. Okay, thank you so much. It was just wonderful, a delight to chat with you today. And look forward to a lot more poetry, shairi, writing from you, and wish you a long writing career ahead. Thank you, Jessa.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.